The Boston Celtics have just made another signing as they get another Exhibit 10-day deal with versatile 7-foot center Dmytro Skapintstev. And we're going to dive in and look at what he could bring going into Celtics training camp and looking at this Celtics training camp squad as we gear up to see who could possibly earn that last roster spot for this Celtics team to make that squad with Joe Mazzulla and Brad Stevens. We're going to dive into all of that and more on this episode of Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Velez. Without further ado, let's get into the news at hand. Make sure to grab a snack. Without further ado, we're going to be looking at the Celtics making a signing, and they just made this signing not too long ago, maybe an hour or two ago, where they picked up Dmytro Skapintstev. And we're going to dive in and look at this. So it was first reported from Michael A. Scotto over on X or Twitter, but he tweeted out that the Boston Celtics and Dmytro Skapintstev have agreed to an Exhibit 10-day deal. League sources told Hoops Hype. The 7'1" center from Ukraine was called up by the New York Knicks last season, and he's two-way eligible as he enters training camp looking to compete for a spot with the Boston Celtics. Now, as we all know, the Celtics have had some guys, going through their training camp and kind of getting geared up and ready to go for the start of this. We know the big name of that is obviously Lonnie Walker, but another player, and Dmytro, is going to be joining him on that quest, kind of either competing for a roster spot with Maine or with this regular Celtics team. Now, you may be asking, Bruce, how did the Celtics pick up Dmytro? I thought they already had 21 people going into training camp with picking up Jordan Shackle just last week. You guys released a video on it. What is going on? Well, I got some news for you guys. The Boston Celtics decided to waive Jordan Shackle last week after signing him, and that is why that he is no longer a Exhibit 10-day contract. He is automatically going to be with Maine, and that is something that possibly could happen to Dmytro as well, as we see either further on in today or even through the next couple of days. But like I mentioned, and like we said, though training camp roster is now full, courtesy of Adam Taylor, like he mentioned, with the waiving of Shackle, Skapintstev rounds out Boston's 21-man training camp roster. Right now, that means there's no room for Jay Scrubb. The Exhibit 10 guys are as follows: Lonnie Walker, Skapintstev, Ron Harper Jr., and Tristan Anamora. Now, if you guys don't remember, Ron Harper Jr. and Tristan Anamora were both players that played with this Celtics Summer League squad. Tristan was picked up right after draft day on that Exhibit 10-day contract, and Ron Harper Jr. was brought onto that Summer League team, and after a couple of games, earned himself his own Exhibit 10-day contract with this Boston Celtics squad. Ultimately, I think guys like Nwora and Harper Jr. and even Skapintstev are going to be guys competing for that main Celtics team. And if they do end up getting waived after this Exhibit 10-day contract, I would expect them all three to go into that main Celtics roster and be some legitimate contenders and pieces to help this main roster team succeed this season and also develop some of their other players to possibly even make this Celtics core. Now, I'm also kind of confused and concerned about a guy in Jay Scrubb. So I obviously asked our guy Adam, what's happening with Jay Scrubb? And he said he has no idea. He seen some reporting and that he was going to be part of training camp, but he hasn't seen anything confirming it. So if I do find anything about Jay Scrubb, I will let you guys know. Like I said, Jay Scrubb is my birthday twin, someone who succeeded very well on that Celtics Summer League team last year, and someone that I was very, very high on going into the season last season before he tore his ACL when he was a two-way guy for this Celtics team. He obviously was able to use those facilities to rehab his injury and was said to be brought back as a guy on an Exhibit 10 day. We have not seen anything been confirmed, so we'll see how that is, and we'll break that down for all of you as we get more news to come. But let's talk a little bit more about Skapintstev. So let's kind of dive in and look at where he fits and kind of going overall where I think he's going to kind of find himself with this Celtics team. So, like I mentioned, Skapintstev, a 7-foot center, similar to the likes of another player on this team in Kristaps Porziņģis, is just another big body for the Celtics to have and to kind of mold as a nice piece. Now, one thing that I did see from New York Knicks fans on Twitter from the quote tweets from Michael Escato was that they were very frustrated that a guy in Skapintstev was let go of and was able to be pursued by this Boston Celtics team, which makes me even more excited. We saw a similar thing with this in Jaden Springer last year when the Sixers decided to trade him to the Celtics at the deadline. And I think we're going to see something similar here with Knicks fans because Skapintstev did look pretty solid in his G League outings. Now, if we want to look at his G League stats for last season, he did average right around 5 points per game. It was a solid player as well. Not the greatest from 3-point range, something that he definitely could get a little bit better at, but a solid rebounder, decent rim protector as well, and just another big body for the Celtics to have. And in my video yesterday, we were talking about Xavier Tillman on Brad Stevens' quotes. We were mentioning how Brad Stevens kind of similarly has gone after some of these guys to be kind of role replacements for some of our older veterans. He went out and got Xavier Tillman, another guy who could be a switchable defender and be able to guard guards in the playoffs, and that ultimately helped them in that Dallas Mavericks series, where Tillman specifically realistically shined in Game 3. Then we obviously talk about a guy in Jayden Springer kind of coming in, maybe being that defensive guard replacement, or possibly a guy in either Jrue Holiday or Derrick White, and I really like that kind of scene of the plan going, kind of getting these players that they already know that work with Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and just kind of building on those roles already. Finding guys who maybe haven't really reached that type of peak yet, or guys that they think similarly could be a role replacement for one of their older veterans, and kind of placing them in there and plopping them in there. And that's what I think Skapintstev can kind of be for the Celtics team. As we all know, Porziņģis, the 7-foot Latvian center, has dealt with some injuries in his time, and maybe a guy in Skapintstev, even if he's not on the Celtics roster this season, if he's on the main Celtics roster where I expect him to be, and he's able to grow and develop as that true starting five for that main Celtics team, playing alongside a guy in Anton Watson, who knows? This could be the baby version of Al Horford and Kristaps Porziņģis just blossoming right in front of our eyes. And we could see both of these guys kind of translating and learning how to benefit off of each other, and then kind of bringing that type of atmosphere and game to the Celtics team if a guy like Porziņģis is hurt, or if like a guy Al Horford does retire. They have those type of replacements and have those roles already filled with guys ready to go, so they don't have to go out there and find those guys in the moment to ingratiate them and make them play a role, or find a guy and make him play a role that he's not comfortable playing. I think that's the mold that Brad Stevens has really gone with the team this year, especially going after guys like Tillman, Springer, now even Skapintstev. Even a guy in Lonnie Walker who could be another defensive young guy. Baylor Shireman kind of being a little bit of a model version of what Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser really could be. Maybe a little bit of a younger version of Sam Hauser. This is the type of development that Brad Stevens has already decided to go with, and I really like to see it. With Skapintstev, like I said, I think he is going to be on this main Celtics team. I think he'll compete in training camp, look very solid. Will eventually get waived, get his bonus, and will go and play as that center for this main Celtics squad alongside Tristan Nwara and alongside Ron Harper Jr. And having Tristan Nwara and Skapintstev as your two centers for this main Celtics team is definitely not a bad thing, especially with them losing their main impact player in Dmytro Skapintstev, with him actually getting a guaranteed roster spot with the Celtics this season, replacing that hole with two guys, especially one who's already played with your team in the summer league and has already kind of understood your system, and another guy who you see similarly as not a replacement, but a baby version of Kristaps Porziņģis. I just love to see it. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. How do you guys feel about this signing, and what do you guys think this means for this Boston Celtics squad? Like I said, training camp starts in a couple of days. Celtics Media Day is September 24th, which is 1 week from today. So we'll have all the news regarding that, all the news regarding training camp, all the news regarding Lonnie Walker and that last contract spot. Will it get filled before the season start? If you want to know everything about this Celtics team, this is the place for you. So make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned and up to date as Celtics Digest will have that content for you daily, especially during the dry part of the season right now. And like I said, we appreciate you guys so much for showing your love and support. We're trying to get to our goal of 6,000 subscribers by the start of the season, and we are less than 400 away. So if you guys are not subscribed and you already at this point in the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button before you head out. But once again, I'm Bruce Veliz. Have a great rest of your day, and go Boston Celtics.